Welcome back. Energy production in African nations has ballooned in recent decades, with proven oil and natural gas reserves more than doubling in the past 30 years. The topic was debated recently here in Washington. Here's VOA's Carolyn Turner.
New discoveries across Africa, including natural gas off the East African coast, deep-water oil in Upper West Africa, and new oil reserves in Kenya and Uganda, are changing the continent's energy markets. Many new discoveries are being made by smaller firms which have less capital for investment. Recent pullbacks in energy prices is forcing many explorations to be cut back. Former International Energy Coordinator for the U.S. State Department, David Goldwyn, outlined in his book, Energy and Security, the challenges presented by a low oil price cycle where a lot of projects are chasing investment dollars. He says donor governments need to make transparency and accountability a priority and build regulations and infrastructure early to prevent corruption.
On the positive side, I shout out to the IFC's oil linkages program, which helps link SMEs to countries. And I think Anadarko and has a relationship with this Pixera company in Mozambique, which is a good example of how it can bring SMEs into the process. On the negative side, I would have to call out Tanzania and Mozambique. We're both talking now about new terms, adverse than what they had before, wanting 25% of all the gas that's produced to be used for domestic purposes, which is probably more than they need. So they are actually making the terms worse just at the time when they are in a less competitive position.
Producer governments and international financial institutions like the IMF and World Bank are being forced to play a larger role in ensuring that the development of energy reserves spurs economic growth. One subject debated was petroleum revenue management. A lot more attention is now being focused on the distribution of money once revenues are collected and ensuring it benefits the society. Oil and mineral consultant Charles McPherson explained how to prevent corruption of energy exploration funding.
There's enormous potential in all these sub-Saharan African countries, but one of the big issues is this transparency and corruption issue. And a lot of the countries are paying explicit attention to it, aided and abetted by or encouraged by civil society. And transparency language and anti-corruption language is being written into both legislation and into contracts themselves in a very explicit way that it wasn't before.
The U.S. African Development Foundation is unique in that it only funds Africans living and working in Africa. They sponsor Power Africa, which is comprised of 12 U.S. government agencies working with 90 partners to provide grants to entrepreneurs.
We have now funded 28 African SMEs who are providing renewable energy solutions to marginalized and underserved groups in Africa. We are working in 6 countries and look forward to expanding this later in 2015, and we'll be welcoming more of these African small businesses who are actually using biofuels, solar, hydro, and other solutions to reach people beyond the grid.
In Washington, the debate has changed to focus on how donor nations can build in regulations and transparency into their programs to prevent corruption. Carolyn Turner, VOA News.